Okay, so welcome everybody to week 3 of Mastery, Personal Development and Leadership. I'm your host for this evening's festivities. My name is Elena Rogalle. I teach Mastery Section 2. I also teach in the Media Design MFA program. I teach effective copywriting and professional practice. A little bit about me. I come from a long career in broadcasting. I worked in radio and then became a graphic designer and spent 20 plus years as a television art director. Then I went back to school and got a whole bunch of English degrees. So I have a bachelor's in literature, a master's in English, a gender certificate, graduate certificate, and then I did my creative writing MFA here at Full Sail University online. So I know exactly what you guys are going through with handling work and deadlines for school and family and all that. I'm currently working towards my PhD. I just started my third year of coursework for my PhD in Techs and Technologies out at the University of Central Florida. So I am busy like you guys trying to juggle everything. So what I'm going to do right now is kind of go over the reading for this week and what Robert Greene talks about with social intelligence. I have a really good quote here. He says, "The many years of viewing people through the lens of our emotional needs turns it into a habit that we can hardly control." And this is what Robert Greene talks about as the naive perspective. We tend to not really see ourselves the way others see us. So tonight we're going to learn about flipping that over. So social intelligence is going to come from learning how to control our emotional needs and discarding this naive perspective. It's how we deal with people and how you react to others that's really important. And you're going to need social intelligence in order to attain mastery. So I always use this really good example of social intelligence from the Big Bang Theory and the character of Sheldon. Sheldon is incredibly smart. I mean, so smart he got a spin-off series. But the character itself, he's so smart, but he doesn't have very good social intelligence. He can't pick up on emotional cues. So he insults people all the time and talks down to them. So what we want to work on this week is making our social intelligence more vital. We want to learn how to, avoid conflict and deal with difficult people. Okay. So this week we're reading about strategies for acquiring social intelligence in chapter 4. So that's where you're going to do all your work with your discussion board this week is chapter 4. So Robert Greene says that social intelligence is made up of two components. There's specific knowledge and general knowledge. So general knowledge is really just an understanding of human nature. But specific knowledge is knowing how to read somebody, like your partner or your colleague, and knowing how that they will react in certain situations. So Robert Greene then discusses these 7 deadly realities or traits that you need to be aware of so that you can learn how to avoid any conflict with people. So envy. It's in our nature to envy other people, and at work, envy and how you react to it can really halt your progress. So how we react to envy is key. If someone gets a promotion, you need to congratulate them, not let it consume you and take it out on your colleagues. The next one he talks about is conformism. You don't always want to be that lemming and going along with the group, but you don't want to come into a new workspace and bulldoze your way through it and, kind of forcing your ideas down somebody's throats. You want to learn how to take it gradually, and you don't want to be a lemming, but you don't want to upset the apple cart. So you have to know how to read people so that you understand the culture of the environment before you start, maybe offering up suggestions. Rigidity, he says that rigidity is a perfect example. This happens when you try to implement change. You don't have audio. Is anybody else having audio problems? It's showing up fine on my end. All right, well, with rigidity, he's saying as you implement change, there may be someone new who's rigid and says, well, we've always done it this way, not that way. So you want to be open to ideas and be flexible and adaptable. So you don't move forward if you are, rigid, so you want to avoid rigidity. And self-obsessiveness. We've all had colleagues probably like this, or someone in our life. Say, I've lost 5 pounds and I'm really excited that I lost 5 pounds. Did you ever know someone who's like, oh yeah, well, I lost 10 pounds. So there's always someone that's trying to one up you, and you can't win with these people. They're not actually listening to you, but they're waiting to talk, and that's a negative trait. Laziness is another deadly reality that we should avoid. And we know we can all be lazy at times, and we may look for the easy way to get things done, but you have to keep that in check. Challenge yourself and get motivated in order to move past the laziness. I will admit I am a lazy writer. I have all these English degrees, but without a deadline for something, or an assignment that's due, I'm probably not going to write because I'm lazy. So I need to control my lazy tendencies. So you have to watch out for that. Okay, flightiness. This is someone who you always have to have a plan B with. You just don't know if they're gonna be dependable or not. Maybe they're always late, or they don't come unprepared. I remember I had a student one year when I was teaching English composition. She showed up every Friday night without her book, regular as clockwork. She was kind of flighty. So if you're wondering if they're going to pull their weight, flighty people are easily distracted. So you want to make sure that you're not flighty, but you need to be able to recognize that trait in your colleagues so that you can help them not be so flighty, and to make sure that things aren't falling between the cracks. And then the last deadly reality that Robert Greene talks about is passive aggressiveness. And being a passive aggressive is basically, really, it comes down to just the fear of direct confrontation. So passive aggressive people won't tell you to your face, but they'll go behind your back and try to undo you that way. So this is dangerous because you don't know someone has a problem with you until you realize they're talking about you. So it can create a hostile work environment. So avoid petty gossip, because it's only going to get you distracted and bring out the negative in you. Okay, so you want to avoid and recognize these 7 deadly realities. And he talks a lot about this in the book. He also goes into depth about the 4 strategies for acquiring social intelligence, and you're going to delve more deeply into these in your work this week. So the first one is speak through your work. So your work should be always its best. I know as writers, you need to make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. Your grammar is perfect. Craft the perfect persona. You have to understand who you are and where you're at so that you have the right hat on, basically. You want to be able to see yourselves as others see you. So sometimes we have trouble with that. And suffer the fools gladly. That's something that you have to just kind of learn to go with the punches. I remember my mom always saying when I was young and just getting started in my career that, you have to just learn how to play the game. And I think that was like, don't confront people if they're being foolish. So Robert Greene's going to use the stories of some of the masters to help you understand these 4 strategies. So you'll be using these 4 strategies for acquiring social intelligence, these scenarios from chapter 4 in your discussion board. So let's talk about that. Okay, this week's assignments. You have your usual deadlines: an initial post on Wednesday, your reply posts, and your assignments are due on Sunday. Okay, so let's talk about that discussion board. Okay, so for your initial post that's due on Wednesday, you're going to watch this video that's down here in the resources, Do What You Love by Tom Kelly. And you're going to talk about what you love and what do you feel is your life's task. What is your life calling? Now, we talked a little bit about being on the false path. Well, now you want to figure out what your life's task is. So if you're on the wrong path, I know I was, even though I had a very good career in television, I knew I wanted to be a teacher all along. So it took me a while to realize I was on the wrong path. So figure out what it is that you love and what you feel is your life's task. Now, make sure as you're doing your discussion boards, you're covering all of these bullet points. So double check your work. So the first thing you're going to do after you discuss what you love and what you feel is your life task is you're going to provide an example of something you worked on, like a project, that was a step towards getting you towards your life's task. Share a positive and a negative example of what you learned from that experience. Okay, so that's the first bullet. Now we're going to delve into the strategies for acquiring social intelligence. And here you're going to describe 2 negatives and 2 positive things that you learned from reading about the strategies for acquiring social intelligence, and relate to how you would communicate your expertise to develop mastery in your field. So talk about suffer the fools gladly. If you have a really positive experience about how you spoke through your work, or you crafted the perfect persona, do that. Now remember, we want you to quote from the text. So cite those concepts from the textbook. So if you're saying you see yourself as others see you, use the definition in Robert Greene's words to define see yourself as others see you, and then explain your 2 positive traits that came out of that. So always use the textbook. In graduate school, it's all about applying research. You're going to do a lot more research, and you're going to apply what you've learned to what you're doing right now. So the best way to help you construct a strong argument, or to present a strong rationale, is to support your argument with evidence, and that usually comes in the form of these secondary sources. So use this textbook to back up your claims about anything you talk about regarding the strategies for acquiring social intelligence. Okay, then don't forget to come back on Sunday and do your reply post. This is really important. I hate when a student hasn't done his reply post and I automatically have to take off 20 points. So like the highest grade you could get is 80. So come back and do your reply post, and reply to 1 or more students' posts with a recommendation of an industry organization, an industry publication, a mentor, or a company that you think would be a great resource for them. This is going to tie into our other project that we have going on this week. But you're suggesting to your classmate an industry organization, whether it's a professional organization like for graphic designers, AIGA, or if it's a like Toastmasters, or maybe it's an industry publication. Make sure you're including that when you reply to what they're talking about in their reply post. Okay? So again, initial post Wednesday, reply posts on Sunday. Okay, the next thing we're working on is we're going to be expanding our personal learning network, or the PLN. So this week we're going to use our mastery journal that we set up last week. Remember, in Tumblr, and we have our About Me section in the bottom, and we posted about our intention of our mastery journey. This week we're going to add some things to the Tumblr mastery journal by creating a Papley account, which is a social bookmarking site. So right here is all the information you need about Papley. When you set up Papley, you're going to go to papley.com and create an account. Then you're going to bookmark some of your websites in Papley, and then take a screenshot of it and post it to Tumblr. Actually, let me see if I can pull up mine. ELENA MARIA ROGALLE. Okay, I'm pulling up my Tumblr example, which it's not letting me do. Nope, .tumblr.com, that's what it is. I always do that. See, this is an example of the address you're not supposed to give your course directors. It's always .tumblr.com. Okay, so here's my example. So here's my Papley, and I have all these bookmarks in here, and I took a screenshot, and you're just posting that in Tumblr like as a photo. Okay? The next thing that we're doing is we're creating a Feedly account. You're creating the free Feedly account. You don't pay any money for this. And that's a really great way to keep track of blogs that you want to follow. It's got an RSS feed, and it updates all the time, so you don't have to keep going back and like refreshing or looking for that blog. So to show you that, go back here. Where's my Feedly? It's probably down here. Here it is. There's my Feedly. This is my design page. So I have some design blogs that I like to follow, and everything's right here. And I took a screenshot of it and posted it as a photograph in Tumblr. Okay, so you're doing that. So you're doing a Papley and a Feedly screenshot. Then you're doing your LinkedIn. Take a screenshot of that. Here's my LinkedIn profile. And then you're going to create a logo. Let me go back to the assignment for this one. You're going to create a logo of your name, whether it's your first name, your last name, all your name, whatever you want. You're creating a logo that's going to sit here on your Mastery Journal. We give you all these free websites that you can go create a logo at, or if you are well schooled in the Adobe Creative Suite or something else and you want to hand letter a logo and scan it in, that's fine too. But you're going to create a logo and put that up on your Tumblr as a photograph. Where's mine? It's Peter Max. There's mine. So your logo is just going to sit there like that. And like I said, your LinkedIn. And then don't forget to share an inspiration. It's really important to share your inspiration every week. So Robin is asking, do you need to speak to the screenshots in any way or just post the screenshots? I like to caption everything. So here you see it says inspiration, and then I talk about why this is an inspiration. And then here's where I got the picture from. My Papley account, I put it under there just so it, I don't know, maybe it's the communicator in me, but I like to have it labeled clearly. So you don't have to, but it's always good. Okay. So you're doing 5 things this week with your Mastery Journal on Tumblr. You're creating the Papley and putting up a screenshot, including your bookmarks. You're taking a picture of your Feedly, including all the things that you're following. Jessica's asking, do we need to cite the inspiration sources in APA or is the source link sufficient? You should just get in the habit of doing everything in APA style because you're going to be doing it for the next 11 and a half months. So the more fluent you become in APA style, the easier it's going to be on your brain. So I say everything should be in APA style. Create your logo, post your logo, establish your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have it already, then go ahead and set it up. If you have it already, take a screenshot and post that. You can put the link on there too. So if you want your classmates to link up with you, that's fine too. Share your links. And then the journal homepage is where you're going to put your inspiration for the week. So don't forget to post your inspiration. And if it is a photograph that you got from, or a quote, or it's a movie or a piece of text, and it's not your own text, always cite it in APA style. Okay? So that's the Mastery Journal this week. It's just a bunch of little things, but once you have these set up, they're really going to help you throughout the rest of your journey through Full Sail. Okay, so the big project we're working on this week is going to actually help us with the week 4 project next week, the big one. Next week, we're doing a timeline presentation of our mastery journey. This week, we're doing all the research for that week 4 project. So you're taking this mastery journey brainstorming and research framework worksheet. Could that be any longer of a title? Reminds me of my days at PBS. Anyway, you're going to take the worksheet that's included with the assignment and you're just filling in the blanks. So you see there's 3 bullets under the 3 trends that could shape your industry of choice. You're filling in the blanks. So what are the 3 trends that could shape your industry of choice? Say your entertainment business or media design or creative writing. Creative writing, for example, all these new streaming services there's a lot more content that has to be produced. So think about the trends that are happening now that could shape your industry of choice that you're looking to get in or move up in. You want to list the 3 current companies in your mastery field. Who are the movers and the shakers? Who are the ones that are going to make the big difference? So put their information here. Then from those 3 companies, find 3 current leaders in your field. If they're not associated with the 3 companies that you mentioned, that's fine too. But you want to look for the 3 people that are making the biggest difference in your field and list them there. Then you want to list the 3 technical requirements for your field. For media design, there's no way of getting around it. You have to be well schooled in Adobe Creative Suite. At the very least, you have to be schooled in Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. If it's in your best interest, you should also know Adobe Premiere, After Effects, use any type of coding. You need to have these technical requirements for your field, and you can find those just by doing an internet search. So say you don't have these technical requirements yet, how can you find them? So you want to look for paths of training that can help you gain entrance into your industry. Then what you want to do in number 6, and this is important, you're not just reviewing the career opportunities from the industry websites, but you're sharing 3 key insights. So share an insight about each one of these career opportunities, about the positions in your field. So read the job descriptions carefully and provide insight into what you think they're looking for. Okay. Remember, we were sharing mentors and industry experts in the discussion board in our reply posts? Well, here you're going to use your networking skills to identify 3 possible mentors with contact information right here. So you need 3 mentors. Now, you might not have them set in stone, but you could look for people that you want to be your mentors. This is where LinkedIn comes in really handy, because LinkedIn is this big giant professional network and it's got everybody in there. So you could just go to LinkedIn and find 3 possible mentors and get their LinkedIn URL, and that's their contact information. Okay. If you have other people in mind, list them as well. That's fine. So you also want to use your networking skills to identify 3 possible internships or apprenticeships in your field and include the contact information for that as well. So when you're looking for your career opportunities in number 6 and talking about the insights, you might as well check to see if they have any internships available. Okay, number 9, this is a biggie. And this one you need to pay close attention to, because sometimes students don't do this one right. You're going to evaluate your course catalog. So if you're entertainment business, creative writing, mobile gaming, find your course catalog on fullsail.edu, and you're going to reflect upon how each course in your degree program is going to enhance your mastery journey. So you need to number them 1 through 12, include mastery, because you just are 2 weeks into this and you're starting week 3. So how is mastery, the course, going to enhance your journey to mastery? And then talk about the other 11 courses. And don't just give the description of what they are. You want to reflect upon how that course, each individual course in your degree program, is going to help your career. Okay? Okay. Number 10 is you're doing a SWOT analysis on yourself. Now, SWOT analysis is a great way to gather information. It talks about your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. If you've worked in business, you've probably done these on companies or competition before. So what you're doing is you're turning it around and doing it on yourself. If you have no experience with SWOT analysis, there's a YouTube video here that you can watch. But really, you're just filling in all these blanks and talking about your strengths. Then you're talking about your weaknesses, you're talking about your opportunities, and you're talking about your threats. So if you don't understand what a SWOT is, you want to think of it in terms of these 4 items. Then what you need to do, and this is really important, you need to provide at least 3 areas of focus and ways of developing those areas. You're going to do that underneath the box. You're going to add more rows, and you're going to do number 1 and number 2 and number 3. And you're going to talk about the 3 areas of focus that you want to work on. Put those under here. Also include a references page. You're doing all this research. You're going to need the references page for next week for your timeline presentation. So gather your references together and post them at the end of this worksheet. Okay. Any questions about anything I've covered? Yes, Jessica, just to be sure I'm understanding. We are completing and uploading the assignment in this template rather than writing out a separate piece of paper. Correct? Yes. There's a Word version and there's a PDF version. So open up whichever one's easier. If you only have pages, and open this up in the window and just, recreate it, I guess. But really, you're filling in all of these blanks. and you really want to do the research, because like I said, this research informs your week 4 project next week. So the more work you do this week, the easier it's going to be next week. And just so you guys know, you're in month 1. That's going to wrap up on the 28th, and then on the 29th, your month 2 class starts. So there's no time in between courses. So you finish up one and you go right into the next one. So an accelerated degree program moves at the speed of light, it feels like sometimes. Okay, any other questions? Regarding the 12 courses, can we write those out as paragraphs in a numbered list? Yes, you can. Feel free to get as detailed as you want to, because next week you're going to be looking at those 12 courses again and developing some goals and strategies coordinating with those. I think the week 4 assignment's open if you want to take a peek at it. Okay, so what you got going on this week is your discussion board with your initial post about doing what you love and talking about your strategies for acquiring social intelligence. That's due on Wednesday. Your reply post on Sunday. Your mastery journal, doing your Papley, your LinkedIn, your Feedly, your logo, and your inspiration is due on Sunday. And your brainstorming research worksheet is due on Sunday. Okay. Jennifer's asking 3 areas of improvement for each bullet point we write in. No. Just overall, Jennifer, 3 areas that you want to work on. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have 3 for each of them. Just choose. If you have 3 weaknesses, say I'm not as well schooled in coding as I should be as a graphic designer, then one of the things that I would put down as my area of focus would be to learn coding and then explain how I'm going to teach myself coding. Okay. Robin, I might have some questions regarding the internships and apprenticeships. Can I message you directly? Yes, you can. If anybody has any questions, you can reach me at Rogalle. Type this as I say it, at fullsail.com. Okay. For some of you, you're already in your field and you're looking to advance your place in the field. So an internship or an apprenticeship might not be something you need, but you need to look at them anyway to just see basically what your company is offering people. It's always good to keep an eye on what your company is looking for so that you make sure they're not looking over you. So you want to keep an eye on what your company's doing. If there's new things that are happening and you want to move up in the rankings, then you need to be aware of all that. Okay? If you have any questions as you start to work on any of your assignments this week, reach out to your course directors through their email. Is the best way to do it. They're here to help you be here to help you. So they want you to be successful too. So reach out to them. And again, don't forget to read Chapter 4 in the Mastery. Okay, Lamont is saying, I'm having the sports track in my studies. How do I get the sports track removed from my degree program? That is a question for your student advisor. So I would address an email to your student advisor and ask them that question, because they're the behind the scenes magic that make everything end up in the right place. Okay. Oh, I'm glad I didn't lose my voice. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll let you guys go. Get started on your work. Like I said, as you're working on your brainstorming worksheet, don't forget to do all the research and fill in all of these bullet points. Don't leave any blank, because then you lose points on it. Don't forget to include your 3 areas of focus and your reference page. Okay? And you just upload the Word document, or if you want to output it as a PDF, that's fine too. Jessica, do the screenshots require citation or any note of original content? No, because it's yours, it's your LinkedIn and your Feedly. You just label it, it's fine. It's just to show us that you've created the personal learning network. Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming. How do I turn my record label to a nonprofit? I have no idea. I work in nonprofit, but I've worked for PBS and the Nature Conservancy and stuff like that. They were already established. You would have to look into 5013C, I think it is, or 501C. There's an organization out there. If you Google how to become a nonprofit organization, there's a ton of information out there. Okay. Thanks, Jess. I hope I feel better soon too.